Hello, Pirate family, and welcome to the weekly update for Friday, January 14th of 2022. And this is the first video update that I've had the opportunity to do with since before holiday break. And I thought it'd be appropriate, just given kind of all of what's going on. Obviously, there's a lot happening within our schools and within our own communities and within the state and our nation. So thought it would be just appropriate to have just an opportunity to talk to you personally. And once again, wish you all a very happy new year and celebrate today, which is the end of our first semester. We're at the very halfway point of the school year, and that's exciting because the next 18 weeks of the school year are going to be challenging, no doubt, but also there's a lot of great things to look forward to, a lot of things to celebrate. And as things pick up, as we get into the March, April, and the spring months, things go by extremely quick. And so first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. Without your support, without the communication, without just the hard work, especially of our tremendous staff since August, since we started at school, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. And even going back to the March of 2020 when all this began, just couldn't be more proud of the people that I surround myself with each and every day, this community, our students, and just want to say thank you. And we still got a lot of hard work ahead of us, but there's no doubt we're gonna continue to persevere, and we're going to move forward and be the very best pirates that I know that we can be. And so thank you for joining me, and let's go ahead and get started. And obviously we have to get started with what we're all contending with and what we're hearing about. And once again, what's kind of staring us right in the faces with just the new variant, the Omicron, and then just the increasing rates that we're seeing in every facet of our life, and then school is not exempt of that. And so, but I also want to provide just some data and some context and put things in perspective as well, because obviously most of us are getting information and data from local media, national media, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but also kind of what we're looking at here in Livingston County. And I know the anxieties are high, and there's definitely concerns with just the number of cases that we've never seen before, but also at the same time trying to balance it with what we know. And I've shared some of that in previous emails, and really where we feel confident moving forward. And the rates are high. They're in the 30%, I think 33%. When you look at just the rates from a state level to each individual county, but also taking a look at individual cases per 100,000. And so that's really what we're looking at as well. And that's kind of the measuring stick. And the numbers are high. They're probably going to get a little bit higher. And so we know we have to contend with that. And there's some challenges that come with that at the same time. But for what we're seeing here, even our students and our staff, and I'll even say for myself personally, those of us who've been impacted with this new variant, it definitely requires some time away from school and work. But for the most part, I think everybody's coming back ready to get back to work, whether it's in the classroom or for myself here in central office, and we're hearing that from our health professionals as well. And so trying to look at the positive things is, yes, people are either getting sick, cold-like, flu-like symptoms with this Omicron, and many are getting no symptoms at all. But for the most part, we're seeing people be able to take care of themselves, get healthy, and resume normal life functions. And so that's our hope, and continue to move forward. And as we look at our rates here in the state of Michigan per 100,000, right now they're at 1,317. That's at a state level per 100,000. And so just to kind of give you some insight, what the surrounding area looks like, and more specifically here in Livingston County, our neighbors in Oakland County, they're at 1,476 individuals per 100,000. Is what they have. Wayne County is at 1,503 per 1,000. Washtenaw County, our neighbors to the south of us, are at 1,837 per 100,000. And we here in Livingston County are at 1,219 per 100,000. So even though we know that the rates are high in comparison to both the state, what they're seeing, and then our just kind of our close neighbors that we're connected with, we're below that as well. Still higher than anybody wants to see. There's no doubt about that. But just wanted to share that information, because I think sometimes we lose sight of that, is that everybody is having challenges. It doesn't matter if they have a health department mask mandate in schools, or regardless of what their community values or protocols are. There's no kind of evading this, and I know that's hard to hear, that because people are. I'll be very honest, very easy to point fingers at the schools and say, well, look at what they're doing in Livingston County, look what they're not doing in Livingston County, and this is why. The truth of the matter is, we're all doing the very best we can, and there's no right or wrong answer to any of this, and we're all struggling with it, and that's just the reality of that. And I see it on social media, I see it in chats I get when there's, school's got to go remote or something happened, people are ready to point the fingers. Even myself, who got COVID, people will make negative comments towards me about, my lack of leadership or trust in me because I got COVID. And so that's just a reality, and that's the world we live in, unfortunately. But the truth of the matter is, we're all exposed to this. And even the health department, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, is suggesting that wherever we go about in our lives, whether it's work, school, grocery stores, that assume you're going to be exposed to somebody with COVID. Doesn't mean you're going to contract it, but it is out there everywhere. And we all have to take our own personal responsibility in doing what we can to help protect ourselves where we feel comfortable, whether it's vaccines, it's boosters, it's masks, it's isolation, it's social distancing, it's making those personal choices. And that's really the direction we're going, where we're even seeing our own local health departments and state health departments starting to pull back and saying, you know what, it's on us. We each have to do our part as parents in terms of making good choices, when to send our kids to school and when not to send our kids to school, just like we've done in the past when they've been sick with the flu or other illnesses. And we have to take those personal responsibilities as well. And so I wanted to share that, and also just our local numbers here. I've got people, obviously they're watching our spreadsheets that we have on our websites daily, which is great. And and I'll get questions about, when are you going to close school, when's the trigger to go remote, and and I'll expand on that a little more, and I've shared some of that in previous emails as well. But for us, from the recording of this presentation, we're at 54 new cases this week, and that's extremely high that we have for 1 week. But it's on par with the rates that we're seeing. And so once again, there's what we see in our society, in our community, we're going to see the exact same thing in our schools, and that's exactly what we're seeing. But also, in just comparison, and I have the highest respect for our neighbors in the South in Dexter and their superintendent, and just think they're a model school district. And so I have a lot of respect for my colleagues and partners in Dexter, but they're struggling with the same thing. And as you know, in Washington County, they have a health department issued mask mandate. And for this week, a comparable size district, they have 80 new cases in their school district. It doesn't mean they're doing anything right or wrong. That is just the state of what we're working with, and none of us are immune to this, and we're all doing the very best job we can. And the worst we can do is it's about finger pointing, and I will once again go to bat saying our schools have been safe places for our kids. It doesn't mean that folks haven't gotten sick, but we also know that people have come back and they've resumed learning, resumed working, and we're seeing that. And I think we're coming to grips to say that COVID is not going away, and it may take different forms. There's already word about this being transformed from a pandemic to an endemic, which is something that just states that this is just part of our life that we've got to live with. We've got to adjust when it comes up. It may be seasonal. There's going to be spikes. There's going to be new variants, and we're going to have to continue adjusting. And so I think we're kind of in the beginning of that process, and I wouldn't be surprised before the school year even ends that we see that transform from a pandemic to an endemic, or at latest by next school year. And so that's what we're working with. We're not trying to be negligent. We're not trying to be cold or short-sighted. It's just a different view of this, and then trying to work and keep our kids in school, provide an opportunity for people to make the best choices for themselves, for their children. And we are seeing more people, I don't know, our staff across the board, students wearing masks, which obviously that's a personal choice of those in this community, in this county. And even my own kids saying, boy, there's more kids wearing masks at school. And so, that's okay. And that's good. And that's what we want. We want people to say, this is what I can do to help protect myself and make myself healthier and feel better about where I'm at and where I'm going to school or where I'm working. And so wanted to share that information. In terms of masks, obviously there's new information about the effectiveness of masks. Obviously, they're suggesting to CDC and other organizations that the N95, KN95 mask is definitely the best, which we know. I mean, that's what our health professionals wear in our hospitals. And in terms of protection, those are being recommended. I know they're not always the greatest for, especially our little guys. They're not the most comfortable, but just sharing that information to those who may take advantage of that. I do want to talk really quick about the new guidelines that both the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services put out this week and supported by our local health department. And this was initiated by the CDC, which I shared in an email earlier this week as well, regarding the possibility of returning after 5 days after being infected. And first and foremost, the reason that I've been sharing this information from the health professionals. This isn't me. I'm definitely not a health professional, but the reason why they felt comfortable doing this is in the past, the Delta variant and other variants of COVID had about a 4 to 5, maybe even a 6-day incubation period where people would be infected and really that 4th, 5th, 6th day is where they really became contagious. And that was kind of that peak part of that 10-day period that we often work with when we get COVID. We had to quarantine for 10 days. And so obviously they would want people to remain isolated for 10 days. Now with the new variant, from what we're hearing, what I'm being told is that it's about a 2 to 3 day incubation period where people are, you get sick fairly quickly after getting it, and then you're contagious really within that short period of time. And then as it prolongs, you become less contagious. And so what the rationale is after that 5th day, especially if you have no symptoms, is that you can come back but you must wear a mask. And once again, they're suggesting a tight fitting mask. And I just talked about those options just about a minute ago. But you have to wear masks for the rest of that 10-day period. And that is to help minimize or prevent any future spread. And because you could still be somewhat contagious, and I've been told that, but the chances are greatly reduced. And so it's just about balancing the opportunity to come back to work and come back to school for our kids. And if your symptoms are greatly diminished, and that's one thing that, once again, parents, you have to help us determining for your own child when that happens. And same with our own staff and adults, we have to be able to self-assess when we feel like we're ready to go back to work. No different than when we've had the flu and we've been sick before. We don't want to come back to work or to school and we're coughing and we're just kind of nasal drip and we're kind of a mess. People don't want to be around us and we don't want to be around people. We made that choice. This is kind of very similar, where we have to make those really good choices on behalf of those around us and then for ourselves as well, so we can get better. For myself, I could have come back to work this past Monday. That was my 6th day, but my symptoms were at a place where I was ready to do that, and I did not feel comfortable. I did come back to work on Wednesday, and although I'm still a little fatigued, and you may hear just a little bit of kind of that residual congestion a little bit, definitely feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm a threat to anybody in terms of spreading. I have tested myself at home and it's been negative, and that's obviously an option as well. It's not a requirement per the MDHSS or the CDC, but definitely something that's recommended to test. But this is kind of the next step in our process. And so just wanted to put that out there. I know there's definitely concerns people have with the 5-day return, but it's one of those next steps that we're making as we continue to go out this journey together. So just wanted to have that put out there. And let me just talk once again about virtual, because you're hearing about schools going virtual. I say in the email that's one of our last options. Even just today, this recording, we had 2 middle schools, one in Howell, one in Brighton, go virtual, at least for next week or maybe 2 weeks. And then schools in Fowlerville closed down. And in Fowlerville, and then I think even in some of our neighboring schools, the staffing challenges that we're all facing across the board in whatever industry you're in or profession, that's a reality. And here as well, because once again, not only are teachers maybe impacted by COVID, but their own kids, and they have to stay home and they have to take care of their families and things of that sort. And so that's definitely having an impact. And that is probably the number one reason that we may have to go remote, whether it's one specific school or a whole district. And more importantly, our students. And I think many of you know that we have a standard that we have to meet. We have to have 75% of our attendance in the district to count as a day of school, to get our funding for that day, but also to count it. Because if we don't get 75%, you basically have to make up that day of school. So we're watching that on a daily basis. And some of the schools that you've heard of, the middle schools in Brighton and Howell, they're having challenges getting to that 75%. And so they made that decision to go virtual for a week or 2 weeks. And I've been paying close attention as well. I can say that right now, our percentages across the board for this week have been in a range of 85 to 90% in the district, and going by each school and then as a district as a whole. So we're in a good spot right now. If we get closer to 80% and dip down below 80%, we got to really start paying close attention to that. So that's something that I'm proud that we're able to sustain. Those are pretty good rates. It's not unusual to dip to those levels this time of year, regardless of what kind of illnesses we're dealing with, flus, or obviously with COVID right now. But that's something that we'll continue to keep you up to date on as well. And if we have to go remote, I'll definitely share the reasons why. But just wanted to share that information there. And I just want to say too, for our staff, our staff, they bring it each and every day, and I couldn't be more proud. Our staff levels this week have been really good given the circumstances. And we have teachers who just have regular life things going on, having babies, families, situations. Obviously taking care of their own kids, caught up in this. But our staff has, since day one, has brought it each and every day. And they come to work, they come to work hard. Our teachers in the classrooms, to every facet of our district. And couldn't be more proud. And these folks are working in extremely stressful situations, but yet they come, and like I said, they're just not here. They bring their best each and every day, and we recognize that and we see that, and I want our community to know that as well. And so hopefully that can be the case from here on out. But you know what, we'll deal with whatever situation life brings our way. So but we're definitely Pirate Strong, and I couldn't be more proud of the group that we're working with as well. So I just wanted to share that. Also, just lastly, MiBackPack program. A lot of you have heard that in the news. That's something that we were made aware of back in December. We have registered our district. We've put in for tests, and the process has been slow. I think all the schools in Lincoln County have put in orders for tests. Some have not gotten any. We actually got some tests, but they're not the tests that we need for this program. The way it's set up is parents can opt into the program. They have to do a survey. We need the names of who is involved, and you get like a box with 2 tests that you can administer at home and use at your discretion. And so we're hoping to get those in place. And as soon as we do, we're going to put information out about how you can register, how we get the test to you. And it's really pretty painless. There's not a lot of red tape or loopholes that you have to do, and it's totally optional. And that's just something, a service that we can provide. And because these tests aren't easy to get, obviously if you go to CVS, you got to pay for them. These are free, and we're going to do our best to try to make them available to those who are interested. So lastly, this is the time of year, kindergarten roundup. We're getting ready to plan for next year. We're already in the midst of that. That's where we start shifting our focus into planning for the 22-23 school year. And coming up in February, we have our kindergarten roundup for both Country Elementary and Farley Hill Elementary. And I'm going to have an attached flyer with an email that I send for this weekly bulletin. But on February 15th, we have from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Interested families and maybe prospective families. But if you have an incoming kindergartner or maybe a kinder-ready candidate, that you can definitely stop by, and we can start taking care of you and getting information and get that ball rolling for you. And the next day, on the 16th, would be for Farley Hill. So same time, 6:30 to 8 p.m. So we put the flyer up on our Facebook page. Once again, I included it with this, but that's exciting time, especially for new families that are new to us, and we welcome new pirates into our amazing pirate family. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your continued support. As you know, we do not have school for our students on Monday, the 17th. It's a day in which we hope that they have an opportunity to reflect on the importance of Martin Luther King Day and just what that brings to all of us here in this great country of ours, and the opportunities for all individuals to be successful. And for our staff, they're going to be working. They're going to be involved in a variety of professional development opportunities, and so taking advantage of that time for us as well. So we're looking forward to welcoming our students back on Tuesday, the 18th of January, for our high school and middle school students. They're going to be starting some new classes for second semester, but it's exciting times. We kind of get over that hump. We're at the peak, and we're going to start making our way to the conclusion of the school year come June 8th. And so thank you as always. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the kind thoughts many of you sent my way while I was out for the past week. But we're ready to roll. We're gonna conquer every challenge that comes our way, and we're gonna continue doing everything we can to make you proud and make Pinckney Community Schools a great place for your family to learn, great community for us to live, and enjoy this great opportunity to be part of this community. So thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Go Pirates.